We're making power slides.
Very good. Hi. Hello. Oh, microphone. Okay. Hello. Okay, there we go. So, I may or may not have written this poem in an hour on Wednesday night. This is also might be my first time performing it in front of an audience.
Here we go.
It's titled Memories, and I hope you guys like it. One time when I was little, I fell off my trampoline. I was jumping and I got a little too close to the edge, and the next thing I knew, I was staring at the gray clouds above, unable to breathe or cry out or yell for someone in the house. All I could do was gasp for air as tears stung my eyes and everything hurt, and the only thing my mind could process was how the clouds looked scraping skies of amber and amethyst. His eyes reminded me of those clouds the way honey lemon tea reminded me of snowy Sunday mornings on the way to church, and my gray sweater reminded me of the way my grandmother's perfume smelled. Like a memory. Memories have always been my favorite stories, but my stories have always ended with a question mark, or a semicolon, or those three little dots. They've always been incomplete in some way, lacking something I've never been able to quite put my finger on. Like when I tell the story of my illness, how we always thought I was just a nervous person, then it turned into anxiety, which collapsed into itself and came out as depression, and after a while, when I finally learned to talk about it, it was actually post-traumatic stress disorder. When I tell this story in detail, when I mention the hours of therapy, the hospital trips, the anxiety attacks, depression episodes, medication, increases in medication, weaning off of the medication, I always fail to mention how I'm still not quite better yet. Still trying. How every morning dragging myself out of bed takes about as much energy for me as it does to run a mile, and maybe that's why I'm always so damn tired. How something randomly triggers a memory and I can't help but start to tremble and twitch and try to breathe, but it's like I only just fell off that trampoline and the wind can't find its way back into my lungs. How every day is a battle, but it's a fight against myself, but in that case, who really wins? My illness is an illness based off of memory. Sometimes I think I remember too much, but then I wonder, do I even remember everything? When I replay those moments in my mind, the motion is too fluid, the color's too vivid, everything feels like it's happening again, that I'm watching a movie, but I try and convince myself that a person can't remember something that happened over half my lifetime ago with such pristine detail. I've always told myself that it's too bad I have an illness that manifests itself in my memory because I love it so. I remember the closest that I've ever come to death was when I was 4 and visiting my great aunt in the hospital, and she died a couple hours after my mother and I had left. Sometimes I wonder if it was the universe's way of letting us say goodbye, but I've never really liked goodbyes, which is why I collect things. My mom tells me I'm a hoarder, but it's only because I don't want my memory to fade away, and the nearly empty bottles of body spray, the dolls, the ticket stubs, the dead flowers, balloons, and dried up nail polishes remind me of moments I'm bound to forget, since my mind tends to wander from one thing and bounce to the next and another and forgets where it was supposed to be in the first place. Lack of concentration is a symptom of PTSD, but I've always considered it to be part of who I am. And I wonder what it says about who I am, that when I feel most at home is when I'm at a funeral for another young kid, and how I used to want to taste the clouds. I always imagined it would taste like apple pie or something fluffy, or how none of my thoughts that I tried so hard to string into words to express what I wanted to say could ever come out coherent and conceivable, and always ended up saying I don't know, awkward. I've always been bad at small talk, but sometimes I wonder if it's just anxiety. One of my favorite memory stories to tell is about one of the many times I've been rejected by boys I had convinced myself I was in love with. After 8 months of yearning and swooning and crushing so hard my 12-year-old heart could barely handle it, I decided to tell him how I felt. Over Facebook. After he had left for high school, and I knew I wouldn't have to see him again, so if this ended terribly, it would be okay. He didn't respond for 13 days, and only until after I messaged him again, trying to convince him that I'm not a total whack job. In the boy department, I can say with 100% confidence that I am still learning, still trying. Despite there being many failed attempts and many, many regrets, I keep getting up and moving forward, but sometimes it's hard. Because I can still remember the way his heart beat like a hammer on a nail, and the way his lips tasted sweet, and the only way to describe how I felt towards him is how the ties get sent away and keep coming back for more, even though they won't get any further than the last time, and all they want so badly is to kiss the shore. I wish I could forget him. But like with post-traumatic stress disorder, things that have had a significant impact in my life tend to slip my mind less easily than the time I went to a water park on a school trip, or Easter 2007, or the many visits to my cousin's house that seemed to run into each other. It always seems the things I want to remember are the things I seem to forget. Although I always try and remind myself that my memory is a miraculous thing I should be thankful for, like the way I'm capable of taking someone and loving them more than I love myself. But then in the end, I realized maybe that's not such a great thing. Not too long ago, when I thought I had a broken heart and honestly just needed a day to read and sleep and not worry, I took a day off of school. When I told my friend about how pathetic I was because I was willing to let a chance of seeing a boy keep me from going to school, she shook her head and told me, "You aren't pathetic. You just love too much." And I don't know, just like with my memory, I tell myself, maybe one day it won't be such a bad thing.